Many of us come to the yoga mat again and again for a sense of freedom, but that freedom must be nourished. We need to come to the mat again and again, doing the same poses often in order to rejuvenate, to reinvent, to rediscover all those re-words, meaning again, repeat the practice again and again. Through that, we learn so much about the practice and we reinforce that felt sense of freedom. We'll begin at the top of the mat to do Surya Namaskar or Sun Salute. I discovered that for my practice, the classical way of doing Sun Salute, inhale, one pose, exhale, another pose, inhale, another pose, exhale, another pose. Didn't work. So by adding an extra breath to Sun Salutes, that allowed me to get some feeling of freedom in the pose, to feel that I could work on the alignment of the pose. Let's try that for this practice, adding an extra breath. Place your hands right in front of your heart in Anjali Mudra. Inhale, reach your arms up. Stay here and experience the fullness of the pose on the next inhale. Exhale, come to a forward fold and stay here for another full in-breath and out-breath. Inhale, step your right foot back, back knee down, and exhale. Inhale again, go deeper in your pose. Exhale, step back to downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale to plank, lower yourself to the floor. Draw your heart forward. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale to downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, step your right foot forward, bring your back knee down. Exhale. Inhale. Step the back foot forward on the exhale breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, take your arms up, reach up and back. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, place your hands right in front of your heart in the Anjali Mudra. Breathe in. Breathe out long. Breathe in, reach your arms up and back. Breathe out. Breathe in, stay in the pose. Breathe out, come to a forward fold. Breathe in. Breathe out deep in your Uttanasana. Breathe in, step your left foot back, bring your heart forward. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out, step back to downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, come to a plank, lower yourself down and bring your heart forward. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Come back to downward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Step your left foot forward. Bring your back knee down. Breathe in. Breathe out. Step your back foot forward. One more cycle of the breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Take your arms up and back. Stay there. Another cycle of the breath. Place your hands right in front of the heart to where we started. Just doing Surya Namaskar, sun salutes, just slightly different, adding another breath or two or three allows you to get a sense of freedom. You feel so rejuvenated. You've tailored the practice. You've rediscovered and reinvented ways to refine your practice. This freedom has to be nourished in your practice. You have to shift it. Your body shifts every day, so you need to shift your practice slightly. Let's come to a wide stance. As you step wide, turn your right toes out. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, take your hand down with your right hand to your shin or a block, however you wish. Take your lifted arm to your waist and look down toward the earth and refine your posture. Line up from the front heel to the back arch, keeping a solid and steady foundation as you pull your feet in toward the midline of your stance. Lift the underside ribs up. Take the head of your left arm bone right up here. Take this way back first before reaching your arm up. You get this nice fullness in your pose. Keep your back leg firmly rooted to inhale and lift yourself up out of the pose. Release your hands. Step your feet hip distance apart and pause. Breathe in deep and breathe out long. To nourish our practice, sometimes pausing between the sides of the poses just allows you to find ways to reinvent, reformulate, rediscover aspects of the poses. So let's step wide again. And maybe through the last cycle of triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana, you discovered a way that you might refine this side. Lift your arms up, draw in from your feet to your pelvis, from your fingertips all the way to your heart and to the pelvis, keeping this nice strength in the pose. Come down to create the form of triangle pose. And now let's do some refinements. Let's nourish our triangle pose. Take your lifted arm to your waist. Look down toward your feet. Pull your feet in once you have them aligned from the front heel to the back arch. Lift your underside ribs. Lift up. I even like using my hand to lift the ribs up. Now take the head of the arm bone way back. Reach your arm up. You get this nice fullness in the pose. Whether your hand is on the floor or on your shin or on a block, see that the hand is more like a placeholder to create this form of 3 triangles. The triangle in your legs, the triangle in your armpit here, and the overall triangle from the lifted fingertips to the back foot to the front foot. 3 nice triangles. Root down from the back foot to inhale and rise up. Exhale, release your hands and step your feet together. Then pause again. It's these pauses that allow you to reflect, to rediscover, to reinvent, to recalibrate. You take your attention to your breath, to your foundation. And with the steadiness in the foundation, you might want to step off your mat so that there's no cushioning, so that you can really root your feet to the floor as you bend your knees to come to Utkatasana. Reach your arms up. Just keep this nice fullness to the pose. How can you refine the pose? By drawing your knees back, perhaps, keeping a nice fullness to the upper chest. You sense this feeling of freedom and renewal in your pose. Now, keeping that sense, can you release your hands down and lift your heels up off the floor so that you get the toes to be enlivened? You start to see how each element of these poses are such important players. So as you balance with your toes really working, you feel like all 10 toes really have to do a lot of work to keep your heels lifted slightly to stay in the pose. Maybe you can even use your arms to help you feel balanced. Keep a nice fullness as you just keep your toes working. So good to strengthen the arches of the feet this way. Release your heels down, stay in the pose, take your gaze up slightly, root down to rise up out of the pose, release your hands. Now that there's so much awareness on your feet, take most of your weight to your right leg. Notice how the toes engage nicely. You draw your toes down and pull them in toward the heels, and you feel like the arches work so nicely. So the structure of your tree pose will be so supported by those arches in the feet. Keep a nice steadiness there as you lift your left leg up and stay steady. Park your foot either to your ankle or to your inner thigh. Do the pose that you've done for so many years in your practice. See if you can just keep a nice steadiness to your foundation. Maybe your arms will help you in the balance as you stay steady on your standing right foot. You open your chest nicely with your eyes bright, with steadiness in the standing leg. You can slowly release yourself out of the pose, and rather than kind of falling out of the pose, see how graceful you can take yourself out. Let's come again to the same action we were doing, balancing on 2 feet. So first we'll start in chair pose with both knees bent, with the pelvis drawing back. Lift your arms up. You get this nice fullness of the pose. The legs stay very active. Now release your hands down to above your knees. With your hands above your knees, lift your heels up, and let's see if we can get all the toes working again as a way to build the arches of our feet, to build strength in our ankles. With the heels lifted, can you drop your pelvis down a little bit more? And maybe even use your arms to get this nice feeling of fullness and freedom in the pose. So different variations that we do with these poses just allow us to kind of reinvent our practice, to stimulate us and provide a lot of nourishment and freedom. It's a way of replenishing our energy. With your heels pressing down, root down to inhale and rise up. Release your hands. Now take most of your weight to your left foot. And as you get strength in the foot, the action that we did with the toes helps you to reinvigorate and strengthen the arches of your feet and take less weight on the right foot. And maybe as you're ready, you can lift the right foot up. From there, can you come to the form of your pose with your foot pressing into your upper inner thigh or to the ankle? Just allow the sense of freedom as you balance on one leg. You worked your toes to prepare them to support you. Through the strength of the arches of your foot, your ankle supports you. Your leg is so strong. You get this nice freedom in the pose. And as you're ready, again, see how slowly, gracefully, you can make your way out of the pose. Very slowly, you release your foot down and you come to Tadasana, this mountain pose. Notice how fiery the standing leg is. Just balance the actions out. And through that balanced action, you get this renewed feeling, this uplifting feeling, a feeling of rejuvenation. We'll come to the mat on hands and knees to do a little cat-cow. So as you come to all fours position, with your toes tucked under, draw your heart forward, lift your chin, and move your heart forward so that your shoulders are slightly forward of your wrists. Exhale, draw back. If that is not feeling right for your wrists, obviously you need to modify. Draw your pelvis back toward your heels. Inhale, draw your heart forward. Claw the earth with the fingertips. Lift your sit bones. Exhale, draw back as you move from the navel back toward the spine to get this fullness in the back body. Inhale, lift up. Draw your heart forward. Lift your chin up. Exhale. Move back, be very mindful of your knees. You know what's appropriate for your body, so just honor that. One more time. Inhale, heart forward, chin lifts. Exhale, you draw back. This easy cat-cow actions are movements that we've done since our first day of yoga. See how you can rejuvenate your attitude about coming to the practice, doing these same poses, but yet with a different energy, with more enthusiasm and joy. With enthusiasm and joy, come to all fours position and step your right foot right between your hands. And as you place the right foot down, tuck your back toes under, lift your left leg up You come to a high lunge now. In this high lunge, draw your back knee down toward the earth and lift it up. Again, draw it down toward the earth, lift it up. And one more time, draw it down toward the earth to strengthen the muscles that support our knees. Lift it up. Now lift your right hand to your waist. Draw the head of the arm bone, which is the right shoulder back. Come to a twist. Reach your arm up. Reach your arm over and just enjoy this freedom, this sense of fullness that you get on the right side of your body. Release your hand down and release your knee down. Come to downward facing dog. As you come to downward facing dog, just discover how your practice has shifted the fullness that you feel, the vitality that you might feel about your practice, that you're here to discover something else slightly different about your practice right now. Come to all fours position. Step your left foot forward. Tuck your back toes under. Come to a high lunge. In the high lunge, draw your back knee down slightly. Sometimes in lunges, we forget about how strong the back leg needs to be so that we can just drop a little bit deeper in the front leg into the pose. So you're just pulsing the back knee down and lifting it up, coming toward a low lunge, lifting it up to a high lunge. Just nice, easeful, slow transitions from low to high lunge. Now, keeping the high lunge, place your left hand to your waist, twist toward the front leg, take the head of your left arm bone back, reach your left arm up, reach your left arm over your head, keep the back leg strong, the strengthening, pulsing actions that we did to keep it strong. Release your hand down, step your back foot forward. Place your hands to your low back and rise up. We'll come to a seated pose now. Sit with your feet forward in Dandasana. Engage your legs nicely. Bend your right leg and park your foot to the outside of your left knee. Then pull the foot in toward the outside of your left hip. Release your leg down. So now you feel a little stretch in the back of your straight left leg. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, just reach your heart forward. Inhale, up. Just easy pulsing actions. We're not going too deep. If we go a lot deeper, for most of us, we start rounding the spine too much. So the action is to keep our spine long as we do these pulsing actions. Your bent leg is staying active and rooting down through the back edge of the foot. Just draw your heart forward. Easy actions here. And you rise up. Release your hands and straighten your right leg to bend your left leg. Park your left foot to the outside of the right knee. And just move your foot a little bit closer to your pelvis. Let the weight of the lifted left leg just settle the back of the thigh down nicely. From here, inhale, reach your arms up, get this nice fullness. Exhale. Inhale, rise up. In yoga, they say, there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to do. It's just these pulsations here that allow for you a sense of freedom, giving yourself this time to take your focus to your body, to the fullness that you can give to your breath, to this nourishment that you give to the practice, this revitalization that you give. You can slowly come out of the pose and lie on your back. With your knees bent, take your right ankle to the outer left knee. Just encourage the top of the right thigh to move back. If you've got a block, it's really nice to use the block to encourage the thigh to move back more. Of course, you can bring your left thigh in, but for some of us, that's such a different action. And in this practice, it's a practice of rejuvenation and restoration. So just a simple stretch to the hip might be just a little bit more accessible to most of us. You encourage with the hands to just move the right thigh just a little bit further away from your heart. You can release your right foot down. And now take your left ankle to the outer right knee. Let the ankle be free here. Take your hands to the top of the thigh, right at the pant leg crease, and just encourage the thigh to move back. Just notice the space that you get. It's a pretty simple movement. It allows for such a sense of freedom as you release your posture to come to Savasana. So straighten your legs as you're ready. And let your arms just rest so fully. Have a nice ease about your breath. Allow your legs to rest. Through the heaviness of the legs, notice how grounded the pelvis feels, how rooted you feel to the earth. You breathe in deep. and out long. You breathe in deep and out long. You breathe in deep and out long. Inhale fully. Exhale, bend your knees. Inhale, take your arms up and over your head. Exhale long. In your own time, roll to your side in fetal position. Use the strength of your arms to lift yourself up. Let's honor the teachings that we've all been blessed with, so many great teachers. To those teachers that have taught me so much about the freedom that we get through yoga only if we nourish the practice, constantly reinvent, to rejuvenate, to make us better students. Place your hands right in front of your heart. To those great teachers that have taught us all so much, we bow. Namaste.